Hi, Professor. This is Mauricio. Can you hear me? All right, we're going to go ahead and start. If more people log in, that'd be fantastic. If not, this will just be recorded for anyone who wants to see it. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mauricio Cadavid, and I'm a senior instructional designer with Academic Technologies and Innovation. And today I'm going to be giving you a quick overview of Gradescope. Gradescope is a new software that we have just integrated with Blackboard, and it's mainly used for faculty or in courses in which faculty are requiring students to submit handwritten either notes or mostly homeworks. Gradescope has many other capabilities, but we are just going to cover submissions of handwritten notes or labs and homework, etc. So what I'm hoping to cover is, again, the overview of Gradescope, a couple of notes about Gradescope, sort of to have in mind, how to it's already integrated with Blackboard and what to do um, inside of it, inside of Gradescope to bring in grades, some of the type of assignments that you can do, how students submit their work, and then, of course, the main thing, which is grading. The grading happens in Gradescope, and then it syncs with Blackboard. I will be showing you, these are just to make sure that, I have a couple of PowerPoint slides, just to make sure that I don't miss anything. Excuse me, but once I finish with this, we are going to be going into Blackboard and then doing a hands-on with Gradescope. So a couple of things to have in mind is that Gradescope, it's already integrated within Blackboard and it links through Blackboard. Through the tools. However, once you have linked your course, you can access Gradescope outside of Blackboard. You can just simply go to gradescope.com. I believe it's .com. We'll check in just a sec, and then log in through there. You will need to create a password, and this is so that when you come back to it, if you go through Blackboard, you're not going to need the password, meaning the next time that you're going to access it after the first link. But if you just happen to be on your laptop and you just say, you know, let me just see if there's anything to grade, and then you just go to the Gradescope site, then you're going to need to log in, and that's why you need to create a password. And it is 12 characters long. It's kind of long. Most passwords are about 8 minimum, 8 characters minimum, but Gradescope has 12 characters. The next thing is that images don't work. So although it may look to the instructor as though an image is being uploaded, what is being uploaded is a PDF. So if a student takes a picture with the phone and then tries to upload it into Gradescope, it's not going to work. That picture needs to be transferred as a PDF. You know, needs to be exported as a PDF and then submitted as a PDF. And again, the files need to be only in PDF format, nothing else works. It will not upload anything else that is not in PDF format. Also, students can log in into Gradescope from outside Blackboard if they're going to need to submit any work. But again, we wouldn't want to do that, meaning that students can just simply go and do the same process as faculty do, which is through Blackboard, clicking on the link that the faculty creates for the students' homework and then going there. One of the things that Gradescope does, and this is both for faculty and students, is the moment that you log in to Gradescope, you're going to get a welcome message. This is very important because within that message, you're going to have the option of setting up your password. If you don't set up the password after it has expired, and then you try to access the website without going through Blackboard, it's not going to let you in, right? And so you're going to have to go through the link process, or the requiring them to send you an email to reset the password. Keep this email. When you receive it for the first time, it's going to come in handy, just in case that you miss the password at first. Students are also going to receive an email saying that they have been added to Gradescope. Now, here's a quick note. There is a setting in which you can unclick in Gradescope that does not tell students, that they have been added into Gradescope, right? So that's okay to do. But if you were going to add someone who wasn't necessarily, inside a Blackboard or something, you just needed to add a student, or student just needed to log in, not accessing it through Blackboard, then they can actually do that. But students are going to receive a message like this. Again, the students would also go through that same process of needing to reset their password. Once you are within Blackboard, you will click on the link, and then the options are going to say that you need to sync your Blackboard roster. And what this is that it's going to allow you to bring in your students from your class into Gradescope. Everything that you're going to be doing in Gradescope is inside the application. And so it's going to bring in your students, and you're going to create the assignments, and then it's going to show you how to do it. We'll take a look at that. Once you click on Sync Blackboard Roster, you're going to then receive this next pop-up that is going to say, I should be using my spotlight here. There we go. You're going to receive this pop-up that says, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to link this Blackboard course, right? Obviously mine is just a testing ground where I test all things. Yours is going to be listed here as the name of your course, even if it is different sections, etc. And this is the link or the check mark that I was telling you about, email notification, which is to let new users know that they're being added to the course. Obviously, because of we are doing it through Blackboard, students are not going to receive the email because you are simply going to tell them, go to Blackboard, click on the link, and do your work. Then you're going to click on sync roster, and it'll show you, inside. I'll take you there now. These are all the different assignment types that you can do within Gradescope. You can create your own exam or quizzes online, or upload an exam, anything that you have printed. You also do the homework and problem sets, and that's what we're going to take a look at today, which is the homeworks and bubble sets. You also have bubble sheets or scantrons. You can also do programming assignments, and now they're testing a new feature in which you can actually create your own online assignments, right? Just like exams that you're doing on Blackboard, you can actually create them here now. Again, we are only going to focus on the second one, which is the homework and problem set. When you click on that homework and problem set, it'll tell you what it is, right? So as you can see here, this is an image of what you're expecting to submit. This is a student who was doing some calculations here, formulas, etc., and simply took a picture, exported it as a PDF, and then is able to upload it. Notice that it does say that students can upload their work via their phone or computer. But when they mean via their phone, does not mean to take a picture and do it. This means to use a PDF format of their homework. So if they have something like Evernote or Scannable, or if they're using the Adobe app and they take a picture and they scan something with their phone to be a PDF, that's what they're able to do that. That's what that means. Then you click on next, and then we get into the course. Now, this is just to show you what students would get when they try to do homework as an image. Is going to tell students invalid file extension, right? It has to be a PDF. Again, they can either do this through their phone or through their computer. We highly recommend, obviously their computer. However, because these are handwritten notes, we understand that students are going to be using their phones to take a picture of their homework, of what they did. Most likely they're going to be printing the assignment, the homework, right, from from your class, and then doing the handwritten annotations, etc., and then taking a picture of it. If they try to submit this as a picture, as this one says here, image, sorry, it's going to set invalid file extension. So they have to click on select PDF and upload the PDF. Once they do it correctly, the actual PDF is going to say, homework 1 was submitted correctly or successfully, and this is a receipt of the submission of what they had sent. This is actually quite helpful, especially for those times in which faculty are going to ask, students, did you submit it? When did you submit it? All of these different things. When you are doing an assignment through Blackboard, often you don't get reminders or receipts. Through Gradescope, you actually do that, and once it is graded, the students are actually going to get a notice as well. This is what the student will get, and we would actually encourage faculty to tell the students, keep the receipt, right? Just in case if something happens with Blackboard and the grades did not sync, etc. The faculty can actually tell the student, you know what, something happened. I lost all my grades in Blackboard or something like that. Could you please send me the the receipt of what you did. And then of course you're going to have your Gradescope here submission. And in part, this is why you are able to do it outside of Blackboard, so that you can still have access to that homework in case that something is going on with Blackboard. And this is how it looks like. Now you'll notice if you're not very familiar with taking pictures on your phone or scanning with PDFs, you know, these two homeworks pretty much look the same. And as you can see on my left-hand side, this is the picture that I took, the one that I tried to upload, and then Gradescope said, nope, it has to be a PDF format. So then I converted that picture into PDF here on the right-hand side. And so this is how it looks like. I purposely sort of did this incorrectly, just so that we can see sort of how, or I shouldn't say it incorrectly, but you know, I'm not a Chinese, I don't speak Chinese, and so I had to look in the internet how to write these things, and I don't know if they are written properly. They seem to be, but we'll see. And then for the continents, you know, I just, you know, the question that I had said was identify the 7 continents, and I just simply put 1, 2, 3, 4 and stuff, and I did it with paper, which is kind of hard to read, but then you'll see what Gradescope does. Now, this sort of homework, I just simply created this in a Word document, and I'll show you how the Word document is. I just brought in you know, an image from the internet, and I just put it here, and then I just simply created these questions about writing down the following sentences in Chinese or statements in Chinese. If you have a publisher test bank, you know, where they're giving you sort of all the different things to do for the students, if this was something that you had, that students have like a workbook, for example, etc. That's how it would look like. They will just simply fill in the answers in their handwritten form, and then submit it. And so then once the student submits, so just very quickly, this is a picture on the left. It's not going to work. You see how the picture gets saved as a PDF, and then you noticed that says homework 1 submitted successfully. After that homework gets submitted, this is how it looks like. You notice, or you see that in here, it's like with pencil and it's black, and you cannot really tell what it is, but Gradescope understands that that is not part of the image based on what we have done in the settings. And so it will show that, hey, look, this is kind of like what student, that first answer looks like, right? So you get to see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, but then it's going to ask you, would you like to grade this question? How would you like to do it? Do you want to do it individually, or do you want to do it in groups? And what individually means is that you are just going to look at every single question for every single student, right? This would be helpful for anything that is in math, physics, you know, with formulas, numbers, etc., in which you got to make sure that each answer is actually correct. If, you know, per student, if you wanted to do it for groups, if you chose to do it, you know, so the individual one will be all types of questions, but you manually grade each answer. If you do it by groups, you can then say, you know what, let me choose all of the blank answers. I'm going to manually group, which means that anything that the students needed to, you know, show their addition, their processes, you know, for calculating what they needed to do in chemistry or stuff like that, you would manually take a look at those. And that's why it says manual grouping. Or you can just say, but then again, I have in my test, I also have multiple choice math and tests and stuff like that. I want to choose to group those. And so if you just simply have blank answers, like I had in mind, then you just leave it in blank answers. But if you just wanted to choose like math fill in the blanks or text fill in the blanks, you can then group those as well. And this is just a last one as a heads up to you that if there is a problem syncing the grades and you get this message that says that there are no grades to post, that you need to sync your roster and grade the linked user submissions, and you're just having difficulties with this, one of the things that you can do is that instead of going to post grades to Blackboard directly from Gradescope, you can actually export the grades and then upload them to Blackboard sort of manually. And I think that's it on this end for the PowerPoint. So let's just go ahead and let's see, Professor, since you're the only one here, do you have any particular questions that you would like to ask?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good. No, I don't. I just started doing the grading through Blackboard as an assignment in my lab.
Okay.
Just learned how to do that, and so I'm not seeing the real advantage. And I did play with this. Ron had suggested, Ron Freeman said, look at this,
Yeah.
and here's something new. And I went in there about a week ago, and I couldn't figure it out, so I wanted to watch this. I'm not all that sure why this is so advantageous as opposed to what we do have in Blackboard with regard to making assignments. Because I just yesterday had the students go through, okay, you got to convert that to a PDF.
Yeah.
However, through Blackboard, it can go as a JPEG.
Correct.
Yeah,
if you do an assignment, if you do an assignment in Blackboard and students just upload it, you know, you're going to see it in the inline grading, and then you can just actually see there and then just give them grade, right?
What I did notice is when you do it as a when you do it as a PDF, you have a little toolbar up on the right hand side, right? And it has a place where you can add comments or arrow.
Yeah.
That's the only kind of tools you have. But if you do it JPEG, you for some reason don't have the arrow. You just have the box.
And that's one of the downgrades that we've had. We used to have a much better the Crocodoc, set of software. But then they either got bought out or something happened with the licensing. And so, I think it was once the Cal State moved everything to Google, then we had to use Box or something like that, which was
and again, this is the first time I'm doing any of this, but I did find that Adobe Scan, the new app to Adobe Scan, is really easy. I found that is super easy. You just take the picture and it directly converts it in the PDF, and you can kind of do a little editing and arranging and send it. And so I really like that app. The other ones I saw kept trying to get me to buy their content, and so this one did not do any of that. But so I'll play with it. I'm not seeing the big event, other than I did like how they colored the student annotations over the original.
I have the assignment, and if you already created an assignment and played around with it, I was going to walk through here in Blackboard on like how I submitted this. Oh, you can't see it because of the background, but my homework and how to actually grade. Did you grade? Have students submitted anything through Gradescope for you?
I didn't have them. In fact, only next week am I even going to have them be submitting through just the Blackboard as an assignment.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I can actually just quickly show you that, because I think.
Show me anything you want. I'd love a recording of this, and I know somehow it takes a long time for ETI to get it up. If maybe you could send me the link to this afterwards.
Zoom is working quite quicker.
Too long, like days until they post it.
So. Yeah, before it used to. Zoom now it's doing much better. I think they either bought more space on Amazon Web Services or who knows, but now they're doing it, within hours. So.
Well, I've been recording my sessions, and I get them in about an hour or 2 hours, about an hour and a half long. But so I really would like to have this one.
Okay. So so let me quickly show you. So this is what I did, and you can still see my screen, correct?
Yes.
My Blackboard. So you have two options. You can either do it through a tool link, right? And so when you do that, like this one, it says the Gradescope homework, and it creates a link, and then it takes the students directly here, right?
So they need a password to go into Gradescope as well?
No, not it's only when you do this for the first time,
Okay.
like when you click on it.
I know I need it, but do they need to do it themselves for the first time?
No, not if they're going to be going through Blackboard.
Okay, I was gonna say that's like a double password thing. Okay.
Yeah, no, if they're going through Blackboard, they don't.
Okay.
So you can either do it through the tool link, right? Because it's a tool, or you can just simply do it as, you know, like if you had a content area and then you just simply create a link to it. So both of these work exactly the same.
Okay.
See, like there's no difference, you know, between the two of them. And so
Okay.
you'll have, you know, when you come in here, so I have my course, right? And one of the things
Yeah.
that you have to do is, the first thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that you link that course. So you have to make sure that this, where it says link to, that is your right course, right? From the university and stuff like that. And then you update the course, right? Then we go to roster. And then here at the bottom right, you see where it says Sync Blackboard Roster.
Yes.
So what it does is that it takes you to this page. We unclick. This is the thing that we unclick for, you know, like you don't have to tell students, hey, look, I just added you to Gradescope, you know, because they're going to be going to, they're going to be getting here through the, excuse me, through Blackboard. But then you just simply go Sync Roster, and it's going to bring in everybody that you have in that course.
Yeah.
Right
Okay.
now, if you added someone, so I have this account here, right? I have my account, but it's my student account like this. You notice that there is no link. That means that if this student logs into Gradescope to do any work, but that student, it's not in Blackboard, in your course in Blackboard, the information is not going to go graded there.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not in Blackboard, then they're not in your grade book, right?
Correct. But this could have been like you just added someone to test something, or it was someone from outside the class, you know, that you wanted to have them look at some of the assignments, etc. So that's just like a little thing right here. It could also be that, you know how I believe today is census, correct?
I think so.
Yes, either today or yesterday, but I know census is either today or may even be tomorrow or something. So if this student is no, if you did the roster before census and then the student gets removed from Blackboard and then that student is left here, right, after census, and you're not, then that's why this becomes broken. That means that the student is no longer in your class, right? So that's how that works. And then, so then we go to with regards to do the assignments. These are just the examples that I did. Now, I have to say something that I don't like. There are a lot of good things that I like about this, but there are some things that I don't, and that is in Blackboard, because you are working in Gradescope outside of Blackboard, this is outside of Blackboard, you have to create a column, right? So in this case, I created something that's called Gradescope homework, so that when you come to Gradescope and create an assignment, you link that assignment to that column. And so, for example, when I created this homework one, right, I went to settings, and then it tells me, right, so like, okay, Mauricio, so this homework in Gradescope is where do students find their grade and stuff like that in Blackboard. So you click link, and then it's going to show you all of the things that you have in your grade center. So you will pick that particular homework. So if for you was, you know, let's say week 1 lab, right? And then you were going to do week 2 lab, week 3 lab, etc. Then in here, it would say something like lab 1, lab 2, you know. So I'm just going to put the Gradescope homework, and then I'm going to link the assignment. And so now then it shows me, and this is after I created the actual assignment, right? But that was just kind of like a heads up, something that I had missed this step, and I kept doing things, and Blackboard was just not updating anything here. I'm like, well, why not? And that's because you needed to do this. So let me quickly go to, you know, within the assignment page, right? If I were to, if this particular student submitted the assignment, and I wanted to grade it. So here on the left-hand side, it says grade submission, and then it shows me. So here's that assignment, right? This is what the student uploaded,
Right.
right? This
Yeah.
is how it looks like.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to, if this was correct, right? So on the left, on the right-hand corner right here. So this is everything that you have for your questions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested, I can show you how to do this, you know, how to actually tell Gradescope, this is where the students are going to write their answers. So right now I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to grade their 7 continents, right? And then I see what the student did, and I can say, this is correct. But then I can also say, you know what? I'm going to give you only half a point. Oops, sorry. That's something else that I learned. Half a point, because I was looking forward to the names of the continents, not just putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Yeah.
So this is how that would look. The second part of this, you know, homework is, you know, if I was teaching Chinese, and again, I do not speak Chinese. This is just what Google showed me, right? And if I tell the students, write down the following in Chinese, how are you? What I do is that I can come to grade, you know, my section 2 answer A, and then it shows me, right? Like, this is the answer. If I say it is correct, I'll give it a correct. Then it's going to take me to answer 2, right? If it is correct, I'll give it a correct. And then I'm going to go to answer C. And of course, I couldn't spell she. So I just did it in English, and this will be 0 points, right?
Okay, so it allows you to break down the assignment by question.
Correct. And so, and the way that you're doing it, and so we were talking about I'm just going to go to full page. If I wanted to tell the students, right, in this particular question, oops, sorry, let me just, in this particular question, you know how when I came to the 7 continents, I said I was looking forward to the names of the continents. I can do a couple of things. One, I can choose on the top right-hand corner, I'm in the mouse format, which means that it allows me to move the homework. But I can also do a text, right? And so I can say something like, identify.
That's like the text box in assignments and grading.
Yes, right, something like this. Or if, so there's that. Or in the chat on the, oh, sorry, let me delete this. Let me go back here. Or let's assume, right, I'm gonna go now to my answer A for this. Let's assume that in here, I missed something. What I can do is I can then say that this, it's written, you know, sort of like, let's say that, so now I can annotate to show the student what they missed, you know, in this particular spot. Or because I am grading this one, I can say, you know what, this one actually is more of a up rather than a down, and that's what this allows me to do.
That's nice.
Yeah, if I was doing something with regards to showing the student what they actually did like wrong in a particular thing, you can, I'm gonna go here to answer B, right? And then I can choose this and say, this one is correct. And you can say the first part, you know, it's correct. It means, right? And then I can just say, but the second part, right? And so I'm actually, you know, showing students where they were wrong. You know, sort of, and again, this would work great if it is for anything that has to do with, you know, what this was designed for, which is equations and stuff like that. But I wanted to do this as sort of my own little, like, well, what if I were to use it in one of my classes, right? Once this is graded here, at the bottom says, let's just go to the next. If I had other students that had submitted it, when I clicked ungraded, it would have taken me to the next student. And then I would have been able to see. If I have 15 students, I would be able to, go into which students had done that particular question and then grade it by question, right? Yeah, if I wanted to do it again, like I just did, I can do that. If I can review the grades, then it shows me what the students got. And then you see here at the bottom where it says post grades to Blackboard. Because this student, right, it's no longer in my class. When I say post grades, it's going to say, hey, you cannot do that because that student is not there. Right, sort of thing. I can also download the grades, and then I can export the evaluations. The evaluations means everything that we did here, all of these different things that we did here, they will get downloaded as a PDF to you so that you have it, sort of as a record of what was done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go over it again. It's
yeah. No, I know.
But yeah, I mean, I see what you can do here, what you can't do in just an assignment in Blackboard.
Correct. Yeah, and again, like if I were to go and I'm going to create an assignment, right? And again, you can do a quiz or an exam, so you can actually create your exams directly here, right? You can do Scantron. So if in your course you were using Scantrons, you can actually just go ahead and you will be able to scan students' answers. Obviously, right now we don't have face-to-face, so students at the end of the class are not coming to you to give you the Scantron for you to scan. If you were doing programming or computer science, you actually would be able to have students do executable programming. And then the online assignments is that now you're actually able to create your own quizzes. But right now I'm just going to create, just to show you that homework problem. I'm going to go next. Right, this one is going to say, let's say this is lab week 3, for example, right? And I'm going to select that PDF, and then I would have here the clean version. So I'm going to say, this is my clean version, right? I'm going to, if this was, instead of homework, if it was an exam that students were face-to-face and they were going to give you the exam, like, they just wrote things and they just gave them to you, then we would not have made it as a homework. We would have made it as an exam. They give it to you, and then you scan that exam, right? And then you'll get that. But that, there's no point of talking about that since everything is online right now and students are not sending you. So this is by student, and you can say, make it available today, and then make it available until tomorrow. Just kind of like very, very similar things. And I'm going to create the assignment. So once it processes this, right? Right now, this is just, the document, right? This is what students are going to be, downloading, right? So this is what I printed last night. I created this in a Word document, and then I exported in PDF so that it's right here. Now I'm going to ask, I'm going to tell Gradescope, when students submit this, what am I looking for? So I'm going to create a question. And when I say that first question, where it says right here, I'm going to say it's going to be identify the continents. When I go, sorry. It was supposed to give me my blue here. Why isn't it giving me? I just noticed something that is not. I think I might have done something because it did not. I'll have to figure it out. Oh, okay. So here's one of the things that I didn't do. And again, that's because this is not as clear as what we'd want is it hasn't been linked. And so this is what I was telling you. See how I just created that lab 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the Gradescope homework. If all of your homework was going to be in 1, you're going to go and link assignment. One that this is you know, done here, I can actually go and save it. But I'm going to edit the outline. And somehow here, what this was supposed to do was to give me a blue box.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why it's not doing it. I don't like this right now. Let's see, homework, next, select PDF, open, student, date, create assignment, call that, create assignment, upload this. Huh. Yeah, so it's supposed to tell me where the answers are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to figure it out and see why it's not allowing me to create that that outline.
Okay.
Yeah. Continents. This is going to be section 2 and then a sub. Yeah, something happened. I'm sorry about that.
No,
I must have not clicked something, but yeah. So that's where it would have been.
I'm not ready for the particulars. I'm just trying to see what the program does.
Yeah. I mean,
Took
and
me forever to
that's
figure out
pretty
how to.
much it. When a student comes in to submit it, they just
Mm-hmm.
simply going to. If I were to come in as a student, it'll be. Let me take it to one that it's already, you know, done, obviously. And I saw that 2 people came in, and so yeah, all I would have to do is click there, see the student submission, and then it'll show me what the student did, and then be able to grade it. And that's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's, and you see how there is this blue box around?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that where I had told it. This is where the students are going to write their answers. And then you get to see, you know, you get to see that box around here. And that's when I was telling, when I was creating the assignment, I was saying the student is going to be able to write here. But somehow I must have done something that didn't. I'll go take a look at it again and see where I messed up. But then that's it. I mean, the students submitted, you can create the PDF, students work on it. I'm going to turn off my, and so you'll see all I did was that I printed it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, just like it is. There's my answers, and took a picture of it like I showed, and that's it. I was able to, and I think I still have, yeah, the Word document. There's my Word document right here. And here is my export. in PDF. And that's what I uploaded. And so again, if you had a workbook, or if you were creating your own questions, you can just simply export them, or save them as a PDF, put them in Blackboard, tell students, print this, if you want to, and then upload not if you want to, but here's your homework or your lab. Do your handwork, show me your work. Take pictures with your phone, or scan them. Of course, if the students have scanners, they can just simply, put their paper there and scan it to their computer, and then upload it into Blackboard. And then you are ready to grade.
Very good, Mauricio. I really appreciate it. Look forward to getting this recording so I can play with it.
Absolutely, yeah. My
And I just
pleasure.
learned how to do that with assignments in Blackboard. So.
Yeah. No, and again, if this is something that, for example, if your students are going to be able to do this, with a simple PDF to upload to your assignment, then yeah, you continue to do that.
Excellent. I appreciate it as always, Mauricio.
All right.
And,
It's always my pleasure, Professor.
all right. Thank you
We'll
very
see
much.
Let's see if anybody else have any other questions. It was great seeing you. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you. You
I do have a question. Sorry,
Yeah.
late.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask a question about what would the students see, well, how would they get the feedback after I grade it? Do they need to create this account on this new software, or can they see it directly from Blackboard?
Yeah, so they'll see it through Blackboard. So so you see this particular homework, that the student just submitted, and how many grades they got, after you were doing the grading. In Blackboard, there's going to be a column. Like I created a column called, Gradescope, homework, etc. And then what I have to do with the assignments, let me quickly take you to one of these assignments. So like, for example, this homework, I go to settings, and then I have to tell Gradescope, I want you to link this to this column in Blackboard. And here's my column in Blackboard.
I mean, I can see that you can kind of grade and then post the grade to Blackboard.
Yes.
I'm just curious from the student's perspective, once I, after I grade them, can they see my comments, or can they see my feedback on the grading of their homework? So like,
Yes. And so, so let me log out of my instructor one, and let me log in.
I'm just curious, what would this look like after grading from Blackboard?
Yeah, and so now I'm a student, right? And I just saw that I submitted this and that it was, graded. This is what I see. This is my homework, right? And here on the left-hand corner, it'll show me how many points I got, 1 point, etc. Actually, this is not my homework. This is not the one that I did. Sorry, because I've been playing all night with this, and so.
But the students need to have this Gradescope account instead of using the Blackboard.
Well, this is created by them. Meaning, when the student, oh, I didn't submit the grade. When the student comes here to Blackboard, you create a link to Gradescope. Oh, and so you come to tools, more tools, and here's Gradescope.
I see.
Yeah, or you can actually create it. Let me delete this one. You can actually create it through a tool link. So if I go tool link, I'm going to find Gradescope, and I can just say, homework assignments, for example.
I see. Okay,
right?
well, this actually answered my question. So what essentially we're going to do is kind of provide the link to Gradescope and do everything on Gradescope, but the score can be imported into the Blackboard.
Correct.
Okay, all right, great.
All right.
Right, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. We'll see you.
Hi,
Actually,
Mauricio.
just as a follow-up to that, when you
Yeah.
do the assignments, and I'm going to ask you, don't go into it, but when you do the assignments through Blackboard, not through Gradescope, and you make your little comments, and can the students see that back? They also just click afterwards into it, and they can click on the link in their own account and see what you wrote on it.
For Gradescope, yes.
No, not for Gradescope, just assignments.
Oh, in assignments in Blackboard?
Yeah, they can
Yes.
go in there on their grade sheet and click
Correct.
on it and see what, okay, all right, thanks. Just checking.
Hi, Mauricio. This
Hey,
is Gwen.
Biani.
Hi, I actually have a question on a specific grade. Um, would you rather me, or do you have a time now, or would you rather me just go through the calendar?
Yeah, let's do that because this is for the university webinar. And
Okay.
this is being recorded and then being given to the faculty of the university to watch.
Okay, perfect then.
Yeah,
So
so look at my calendar and we can talk. I think I have some availabilities later on today.
yes, alrighty, sounds good. So I'll go through that way then.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Alrighty.
Okay, so I think it's been about an hour, and again, this is a very quick summary of Gradescope. I am going to make sure that I am in the right account because I wanted to also show you that when you are in Gradescope and you click down at the bottom where it says account, you have a list of videos. They're very quick videos, exactly on, for example, what it is, that that you're doing. So everything that I did today, they have very quick, 2 to 3 minute videos. The only thing is, if you're going to go to the LMS integration video, for example, which is the one that I did here today, showing you Blackboard, etc., is that this one is done with Canvas, and so, but they work, pretty much all the same. And again, today I only covered the submitting exams, through the PDF as a homework, not submitting exams, but any work that you're doing as homework or labs. As you can see here at the bottom, if we were doing a face-to-face class and students were giving you the exams, you would be able to then scan them yourself, or a TA, maybe if you do this in fall, and then all of that information is going to get there. So again, you have all of this information there. And also remember that once you get that email from Gradescope about, you logging in through Blackboard. If you are not in Blackboard, like I just closed Blackboard, you can always come directly through gradescope.com. And by creating that email, you can just simply log in. Do not go to school credentials because you're not going to find Cal State San Bernardino there, because there is a key that was already sort of linked to your Blackboard, to our Blackboard course. And do not log in with Google. Just simply use that email that you use for Blackboard, till you log in, and the password that that I said at the beginning with regards to using the that 12-digit or 12 characters. And that's it. You have any questions? Remember that this is going to be posted at our ATI continuity workshop. So when you click concurrent workshops, just like you came, to see this one, you click through here. The recording is going to be available by the end of today, hopefully, is going to be available here. And if you need to schedule any time with us, you can either just go through the front page of ATI, in which you can find the instructional designers, and then just set up a schedule there. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Continue to be safe, and have a wonderful rest of the week.